But NFL, can we take anything from it? We talk about the Longhorns that balled out. Quinn, Andrew Makuba, pick 6, Gunnar Helm touchdown, Jalen Ford interception. That they're making their way. But in Arlington Saturday, the Cowboys opened AT&T Stadium, the first home game back from California. And I'll say this again, 2 weeks in now, I don't back off it. I think the Cowboys will regret letting Cooper Rush go. However that all played out, if it was bitter at the end. Because it feels like at the end of last year, everything was bitter, all right? With Cooper Rush not getting to his playing bonus because they didn't play him. They played Trey Lance. Trey Lance being gone, Mike McCarthy left. I mean, it was kind of bitter. And now they're trying to, it's all coming back, peace, love, and harmony with the Brian Schottenheimer era. There's still the Micah Parsons thing. But you're looking for encouraging signs. And here's just the fact of it. The Cowboys so far in 2 preseason games got off to a bad start with their first team, whatever their first team was, and there was a lot of the offensive line, including Tyler Booker. But again, the Cowboys went 3 and out on offense on 2 straight drives. One of them ended in a safety when Joe Milton got decked in the end zone on a blitzing defensive back. So now that is 2 preseason games, 4 drives, 18 plays, 31 yards, 2 points given up, and 3 punts. That's not very good.
No, it's not.
And defensively, they had a pick 6. Cooper Rush made a mistake, and one of their young Andrew Booth, their corner, pick 6. But the defense still can't stop people. And again, this is the defense without Micah Parsons. They're going with backups, but you just want to see encouragement. And it's just for 2 games in a row against the Rams and Ravens, both very good teams, deep teams that are seen as playoff caliber teams, have just kind of whooped them at the line of scrimmage and done what they wanted to offensively. Cowboys aren't doing much, and I think they regret Cooper Rush because I don't think Joe Milton's very good.
No, he's not. He's a high-ceiling guy that they utilize a pick for, but it kind of felt like Trey Lance 2.0 almost, right? I mean, they used a pick for Trey Lance, and where's he? He's on the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, the sign-stealing Jim Harbaugh. And, yeah, I mean, it's an issue. Do you still think maybe this week that they'll get that deal done, like you said, now that the gambler is coming out?
Well, my prediction has been Tuesday, today and tomorrow.
Right, you still got some time.
Because that new Netflix series after the red carpet premiere last week created so much buzz. It debuts tomorrow.
Yes. So
would it be crazy for Jerry Jones on a day where Scotty Scheffler is the lead headline and college football hasn't quite started yet that they could pump some viewership numbers on Netflix by finally calling Micah Parsons' agent David Mulligetta?
Maybe.
And saying, hey, let's engage on this. Because I think all sides have agreed openly.
Right.
That if that conversation could happen, it would happen pretty quickly. But the Cowboys are trying to stand on the face-to-face conversation Jerry Jones had with Micah Parsons back in March at the Combine. David Mulligetta is not going to stand for that. There's going to be actually a sit-down conversation with him. He is his representative. We're not signing anything without that happening. And the Cowboys have refused to talk with the agent. So that wouldn't take very long.
No, it would not.
I don't
think
know.
the number, we have an idea of what it's going to be, so I'm sure they do as well.
Remember, David Mulligetta has confirmed to a radio station in Dallas that, after Micah Parsons said, hey, I pretty much got this deal done with Jerry, call him. He did call and got to the capologist who said, yeah, we've already got that done. And Mulligetta said, no, you don't. I have not talked to anybody. He said, no, we've got that done. He said, no, you don't. Tell Steven to call me, which is the last time it's been discussed. And Steven never called him. Jerry never called him, by all accounts. Could that happen today? And by tomorrow morning, the day of the Netflix debut, it's done? Sure.
Maybe Tuesday wasn't great numbers-wise on Netflix, so Wednesday they do it, Maybe the second day. Let's spike this up a little.
Jerry would go for red carpet, man. Debut.
So?
He wants a debut record holder. But what did Jerry say last week on the red carpet? If things get slow, I'll stir it, right? The Cowboys are a drama 365 days a year.
That's how the trailer starts for the whole docuseries itself.
So there you go. We'll take your things you saw. I will say a couple things for the Cowboys. I thought Damone Clark, the young linebacker, looked really good. He's flashing. If they could ever get DeMarvion Overshone and that guy back together, that's pretty good. Tyler Booker got his first time, the 12th round pick, 12th draft pick out of Alabama. He looked good, held his own, and maybe then some. So I'm good with that. Like where they're there. Even the backup offensive line showed some stuff. They had the pick 6. So there were some things. I'm just saying on a big picture level, the Cowboys have not been encouraging to this point. If you're a Houston Texans fan, there has been encouragement that their first team offense, C.J. Stroud got 2 series and led a touchdown drive, pass to Nico Collins.
That's encouraging.
But every Texans fan and every football fan would tell you, when they went to camp, what did you want to see? And this goes back to the discouraging part of the Cowboys. When they went to camp, what did you want to see? Well, what was their biggest issue last year outside of the Dak Prescott injury? Well, they couldn't run the ball and they couldn't stop the run. Well, so far in training camp, the Cowboys can't run the ball and they can't stop the run. The Cowboys are averaging about 2 yards per carry on the ground with whichever running backs they run out there and against whichever defense they're facing. So that's discouraging. Houston's biggest problem last year was offensive line. And so far, the early results with new offensive coordinator Nick Caley, a whole new offensive line look, and a new offensive line coach, Cole Popovich. So through a game against Minnesota and now a game against the Carolina Panthers on Saturday, encouraging. Like actually moving the line of scrimmage, actually changing the line of scrimmage, actually pushing people, averaging over 5 yards a carry on the ground. Nick Chubb made his Houston Texans debut and ran for 25 yards on 5 carries in a small sample size. I mean, these are things you're looking at, okay, that's encouraging. Doesn't mean it's a finished product by any stretch. And even D'Amico Ryans pleased with what he's seen so far from the rookie Antonio Ursary and Titus Howard and this new look offensive line with a new mindset and a new scheme.
The thing that I'm seeing from the offensive line is that they're playing together, and that's the main thing. They're playing together. They're communicating well. They're picking up the pressures and stunts really well, and they're playing as one. They're resetting the line of scrimmage, the physical play that I talk about when we have a double team, like to see the offensive line actually displace the defensive line, and we're able to run the ball without having negative plays. Like I'm seeing that consistently. Right, there are not many mishaps on the offensive line. So it's just consistent play, giving us a chance to get the play started and a chance to have productive plays, because everything starts up front. When those guys are sound in what they're doing, they're playing together, they're playing smart ball, playing with great awareness. Now we have a chance to have productive plays.
All right, so that's encouraging for Houston. If that continues, and Tay Ursary, the rookie out of Minnesota, just continues to get raves. And we'll see. Season begins with a game at the Rams. Will Matt Stafford playing that game?
Doesn't sound like he's that weird cryo chamber thing. Have you seen this?
Well, I know they're trying to get Matt Stafford back, but here we are.
He doesn't practice at all.
The Cowboys Eagles opener is 2 weeks from this Thursday.
Yeah, good time to catch him if you're a Texans fan.
Well, 100%, because that's one of those games you look at your 17-game schedule like, we're probably not going to beat the Rams on the road to start the year. But if you could sneak in there and get a dub because Matt Stafford's out and you face Stetson Bennett, who actually played really good over the weekend.
I still think you'd be playing Jimmy G, even though Stetson Bennett played amazing.
Jimmy G, the handsome Jimmy G.
Stetson Bennett at this point.
Houston did make a trade over the weekend, and I think this is also encouraging from the Texans side that John Mechie, their young receiver out of Alabama who battled cancer, remember, when he first got to camp, and he's had a couple years. He's had a real good camp by all accounts. He's been their leading receiver so far in the preseason, but they saw enough depth at receiver that they traded him to the Philadelphia Eagles. Remember in the offseason, the Texans made a trade with Howie Roseman and the Eagles where they sent Kenyon Green, the former Texas A&M first-round draft pick who has not panned out in Houston. They sent him to Philadelphia for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the safety who was part of that number one defense that won the Super Bowl. And they swapped 5th and 6th round draft picks.
Right.
Well, now here we are near the end of training camp, and Houston has a surplus at receiver, so they send John Mechie to Philadelphia. The Texans need a tight end because Brevin Jordan got hurt. He's out for the year. So they pick up the tight end, one of the third-string tight end for Philadelphia, and they swap their picks back. So essentially that trade now, if you just look at it as one full trade, it's C.J. Gardner-Johnson and the tight end, Hunter I forget his name, but the tight end coming in to give the Texans depth at tight end because they only had two tight ends on their roster right now. They get the tight end. So that was from the Philadelphia. Houston sends John Mechie and Kenyon Green to the Eagles. The picks are now back to where they were.
How do you feel about that as a Texans fan?
Good. Yeah. Encouraged.
Just because of the depth you now have at that position?
Well, and you feel terrible for Brevin Jordan because he was having a good offseason and they felt like he could be that third tight end. And we've told you, Nick Caley, the new offensive coordinator, uses the tight ends. I mean, he's been a tight end coach in his career. Sure. And that's going to be a feature of their offense. And they like where Dalton Schultz is. They like Cade Stover, the second-year player out of Ohio State. And Brevin Jordan was going to be the third. But unfortunately, he got hurt. So they end up having to make this deal. So I like it, because now you have a third tight end who you've seen before. He was at Cleveland before he was in Philadelphia. Instead of having to pick up some guy off the streets, you actually make a trade for someone you have value on.
Sure.
And you have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's going to be back, they think, and healthy before the start of the season, thank goodness. And you have your picks back. And Kenyon Green wasn't going to be on this team anyhow. D'Amico Ryans wanted him gone. wanted all those guys that were letting C.J. Stroud get destroyed last year and not do anything about it. He wanted to rebuild that whole thing. So feel good. I'm sure the Eagles feel good. You know, they get John Mechie, who's a young receiver who played with Devontae Smith and
They
Jalen
love
Hurts
their
at
SEC
Alabama.
players, don't they? Especially receivers.
Philadelphia now has 9 former Alabama players on their team.
Probably 9 Georgia players, too.
I know.
Not a bad place to take from.
Well, you know, Howie Roseman, keep it simple, stupid. Okay, let's take the best players from the best teams.
We're going to go get the guys that won championships at Bama, coached by Nick Saban. We're going to go to get the guys
I got
Kirby
9
Smart.
Bama guys, and I got like 7 Georgia guys.
And what did he do this year as a GM? Let's go get a couple Texas guys. How about 2 of those?
Andrew Makuba.
Yes.
Pick 6
And
this
Cameron.
week. Yeah, well, you don't overthink the game. This is where they're balling out in college. They'll probably be pretty good NFL players, too.
That's right.